But let's stay with the story now. Bring in the South African Human Rights Commission. Advocate Andre Gaum joins us via our video link this morning. Advocate Gaum, it's great to see you. Thanks for coming onto the program. Such an important story, the KZN School Nutrition Program. And bizarre, really, that the department somehow chose to change how it was being rolled out by using one service provider in a province that has the highest number of schools.
Good morning. Yes, good morning, Michelle, and to the viewers as well. Yes, this should have been prevented by the Department of Education in KwaZulu-Natal. The National School Nutrition Program is actually one of the great successes of the Department of Basic Education. Not only, as you indicated earlier and you reported, because it's often the only meal a child receives a day, but that it has also become an integral part of the right to a basic education and the realization of that right as such. Because it is quite clear and all evidence shows that proper learning cannot really take place in the absence of a child being fed. So this should not have happened, and we will now see if it has been corrected, and if children do receive their meals as is supposed to be the case, but this should really have been prevented.
Yeah,
it
absolutely.
Actually amounts to the violation of the right to a basic education as such.
Yeah, absolutely. There were reports last week, Advocate Gaum, of children having to go home because they were sitting in class and they were hungry and they were just unable to focus on any schoolwork.
No, absolutely. All research, and I think that is also why this program was put in place in the first instance, shows very clearly that proper teaching and learning cannot take place when children are hungry. And that is exactly why what happened, what you indicated now, that some of the children actually had to go home in the absence of being properly fed, because under those circumstances, it often becomes meaningless to actually be at school. So this is a very serious matter. As I say, it should not have happened, and the KwaZulu-Natal Department of Education should make very sure that it doesn't happen again.
So, Advocate Gaum, you've talked about the school nutrition program and the fact that it is so intrinsically linked to the right to a basic education, right? It's impossible. They go hand in hand. These two rights, education and being able to have a meal as part of your day. And sometimes it's the only meal that these children do have, right? It's the one meal that they have in a day as well. So what's the protection that's provided legally, Advocate Gaum, around the school nutrition program?
Well, I am quite sure that in today's terms, when the school nutrition program is not properly rolled out at a school, that basically amounts to a violation of the right to a basic education. And under those circumstances, a court could even, or the Human Rights Commission could have been approached then to also make sure that this is being addressed. It now appears that it has been addressed, and fortunately it appears that the Department of Education in KZN did see this as a very serious situation and a very serious breach of human rights. And we will also from our side make sure that schools are monitored to make sure that the program has been put in place again to the extent that all schools are being serviced.
It will surely raise questions as well around the tender processes that went into changing service providers, as was done a couple of weeks ago, and the oversight that should have been exercised when that tender process was changed.
No, absolutely. There were clearly shortcomings in that regard as well, and one wouldn't know whether this was an effort to actually try and improve the system, but clearly it had the opposite effect, and therefore it doesn't appear that the department has done enough to make sure, in terms of oversight and so on, that delivery could still take place. one shouldn't take these risks at all. And I think this has been a risk that was taken to make amendments that you did not know would actually have the necessary effect. It actually had the opposite effect in terms of non-delivery of food to learners.
Yeah, it's such an important story and one that we are tracking closely, impacting millions of learners. That was according to numbers from some years ago, the National School Nutrition Program. Advocate Andre Gaum, let me thank you for your time this morning. Human Rights Commissioner Andre Gaum joining us as we continue to track the story.